UBN Narrator News has partnered with Adidas to bring you custom clothing for all occasions. The material is amazing and they have fits for all body sizes.
Let's get something straight immediately, because this debate has been mangled beyond recognition. Humans do not have free will, they have free choice. Those two things are constantly treated as interchangeable. They are not, and once you separate them properly, most arguments about freedom, responsibility, blame, guilt, and destiny stop being mysterious and start being obvious. This episode is not about whether effort matters. It does. It's not about whether choices exist. They do. This episode is about what kind of freedom humans actually have, and why calling it free will is philosophically incorrect. Why this debate never goes anywhere. Every free will argument goes in circles because people keep arguing different things while using the same word. When one person says free will, they often mean, I can make decisions, pursue goals, and affect outcomes. That is true. When another person hears free will, they hear the will itself is independent of causality, constraint, and physical law. That is false. The argument collapses because free will is doing two jobs at once and failing both. So let's separate them cleanly. What free will would actually have to mean. If free will existed in the strong sense, it would mean this. Your will is sovereign. It is not bound by physics. It is not bound by biology. It is not bound by causality. Your wanting something would be sufficient to make it so. Not immediately, not magically, but in principle. If free will existed, there would be no absolute limits on what the will could eventually bring about, and that's the problem, because humans do have absolute limits. Physics ends the debate early. Let's deal with the most boring, but most decisive argument first. Physics. You cannot will yourself to fly, will gravity to stop, will your body not to age, will fire not to burn you. No amount of desire, intention, belief, or effort changes this. This is not pessimism, this is not cynicism, this is not limiting beliefs. This is reality. If your will were truly free, it would not be subordinate to physical law, but it is. That alone destroys free will as an ontological concept. Schopenhauer, the line that ends the conversation. Arthur Schopenhauer said it more clearly than almost anyone else. Man can do what he wills, but he cannot will what he wills. This sentence is devastating if you actually sit with it. You can act on your desires. You cannot choose which desires arise. You did not choose what attracts you, what repulses you, what feels meaningful, what feels unbearable. Those appear in consciousness without asking permission. If you had free will, you could choose those too. You can't. Desire is not authorship. People often confuse control over action with authorship of will. Yes, you can choose to pursue a career, you can choose to train, you can choose to persist. But you did not choose the desire for that career, the value you assign to success, the emotional reward your brain gives you. Those were shaped by genetics, upbringing, culture, and experience. That doesn't make effort meaningless. It makes authorship limited. Spinoza, the illusion of freedom. Baruch Spinoza dismantled the free will illusion centuries ago. Men believe themselves to be free because they are conscious of their actions, but ignorant of the causes by which they are determined. That's the key. You experience yourself choosing. You do not experience the causal chain that produced the choice. So freedom feels obvious, but feeling is not evidence. Consciousness is a window, not a command center. Determinism doesn't erase choice. At this point, people usually panic and say, so nothing matters, we're just robots. No. That reaction is emotional, not philosophical. Determinism does not say choices don't exist. It says choices arise from prior conditions. That's it. You didn't choose. Your genes, your nervous system, your childhood, your culture, your trauma, your education, those shape what options appear, which feel attractive, which feel impossible. Choice exists inside that structure, not outside it. David Hume, Liberty Without Magic. David Hume was extremely clear about this distinction. He defined liberty as a power of acting or not acting according to the determinations of the will. Notice what's missing. Hume does not say the will itself is free. He says action follows will, but the will is shaped. This is free choice, not free will. The bridge example, again slowly. Let's slow this down and make it unavoidable. You're standing on a bridge. You know jumping will kill you. You cannot. Will gravity to stop? Will your body to survive impact? Will physics to negotiate? But you can still choose to jump. That choice is real. The constraint is real. They coexist. This proves everything. If humans had free will, desire could override consequence. It cannot. Awareness doesn't equal freedom. Some people argue once you're aware of constraints, you're free. No, awareness does not remove constraint. It clarifies it. Knowing you will die does not remove your ability to act. It makes your action heavier. Choice under knowledge is still choice, not free will. Kant, moral freedom, not physical freedom. Immanuel Kant tried to save freedom by relocating it. He argued that freedom does not exist in the physical world at all. It exists in the moral realm. He wrote, "A free will and a will under moral laws are one and the same." In other words, you are not free to escape causality, but you are still accountable as a moral agent. Even Kant knew better than to claim humans could will themselves beyond physics. Sartre, no escape from choice. Jean-Paul Sartre is often misunderstood. He did not believe in unconstrained freedom. He believed humans are condemned to be free, which means you don't choose the situation, but you cannot escape choosing within it. That's not free will, that's inescapable agency. You don't get cosmic permission slips. Nietzsche, free will was invented for punishment. Nietzsche cut straight through the moral psychology of this debate. The doctrine of free will was invented essentially for the purpose of punishment. Free will isn't about freedom, it's about blame. If people had truly free will, then suffering is deserved. Failure as moral punishment feels justified. Free choice complicates that. Responsibility without fantasy. Rejecting free will does not destroy responsibility, it grounds it. You are not responsible for the conditions that shaped you. You are responsible for what you choose. Once you understand those conditions, ignorance reduces responsibility, awareness increases it. That's practical ethics. Algorithms didn't kill choice. Modern tech exposes this confusion brutally. Algorithms predict you because humans are patterned, behavior is constrained, preferences are shaped. Predictability does not mean absence, it means structure. Freedom is not randomness, freedom is range. Where freedom actually lives, freedom is not infinite possibility. Freedom is the range of actions available given the constraints you are in. Some people have wide ranges, some have narrow ones. No one has infinite range. Free will would require infinite range. Humans do not have that. You are not free to will anything into existence. You are free to choose actions within a world that existed before you, will continue after you, does not care what you want. That is not nihilism, that is adulthood. One sentence to keep. If you had free will, desire could override physics. It can't. You have free choice, and sometimes that's heavier. Why this matters. Once you stop pretending humans have free will, blame becomes nuanced, responsibility becomes precise, morality becomes contextual, punishment becomes questionable, and thinking gets sharper. Please like, comment, share, and consider joining the channel as a member. In episode 4, we tackle a major philosophical question. If morality is relative, why are you so sure you're right?